Rainbow Six Siege is a multifaceted game, in which players have to make decisions every second of the match. There is a lot of information to learn. From operator abilities to different gadget interactions, players definitely need to be aware of many things while playing. And add gunplay to the mix, and you have a complex tactical shooter at your disposal. This is why there is a plethora of tutorials on YouTube, with new tricks being discovered every single day. In this video, I'll present information that won't directly win you more gunfights or improve your KD, but it will help you better understand the dynamics of the game. I'll show tips with specific metrics and statistics so that not only will you understand the how behind a question, you'll understand the why. I believe players of every level can learn a thing or two from this video, so if ever that's the case, please leave a like and consider subscribing to this channel. Alright, without further ado, let's start with tip number 1. For barricade functionality, I first have to credit the Kill and his video on barricades, as I've learned the foundations from there. The first thing I want to show for barricades is the fact that they are made of individual panels. So there's 1, 2, 3 panels in width for smaller barricades, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for larger barricades. So keep that in mind, it'll become important later on. 3 barricade interactions I want to show today are how to get vault prompts, how to fully destroy barricades, and then where to hit barricades to make cool plays. The most common way to prep a barricade is by hitting it twice. So 1, 2, and as you can see you get a vault prompt, but if you hit it a third time, it'll destroy the barricade. And it doesn't matter where you hit it or how many panels you destroy, so I'll show 1, 2, so I have 2 panels destroyed, but it still gives me a vault prompt and I can still destroy it in the third hit. Another way to prep a single barricade, not a double, is by destroying 7 panels. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and as you can see I get a vault prompt and I can simply vault in. And what's special about prepping a barricade this way is that it doesn't matter how you destroy the panels, all that matters is that you destroy 7. So I'll show right here, I'll hit the barricade once, so I have 3 panels destroyed, so I need 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4 to make 7, and as you can see I get a vault prompt. Now if you want to fully destroy a barricade, that's where things get a bit more inconsistent. You can either melee it 3 times like I've shown, but otherwise if you only want to use your weapon, then you need to destroy 10 panels. So I'll show you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But if you want to combine one melee hit with bullets, that's where things really get inconsistent. So I'll show you here, I'll hit the barricade and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 panels. So you might think, oh, I only need to destroy 4 other panels to fully destroy the barricade. But as you can see, it takes a few more panels. Moving on to double doors, if you want to destroy it using bullets only, then like small barricades, all you need to do is shoot 10 panels. So I'll show you right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And if you want another way to prep a double door, although I don't think this is too useful, you need to destroy 12 panels. But how can you destroy 12 panels if by shooting 10, it destroys the double door? Well, you need to combine a melee hit. And so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 panels, so I need 6 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and as you can see, I get a vault prompt, and I can either vault or I can melee to fully destroy the door. To finish this section, I'll show where exactly on the barricade you can melee it so that you remove 6 panels at once, which is the maximum amount of panels you can remove. So I'll shoot the top right panel to show you. This is the length of one panel and it's pretty consistent across all the panels here. Regardless which bolt you align yourself with, it could be the 3rd bolt or this bolt here underneath the metal piece, but it could also be the 4th or 5th, it doesn't really matter. As long as you hit where the first panel ends, you will destroy 6 panels. And I'll show you right here, I'll hit it here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you want to make a crouch hole, go 3 bolts up from the 3rd bolt, hit it where the first panel ends, and now you can simply crouch through. And it's the same principle for double doors, and you can go to the left too, so I'll shoot the top left panel. So this is where the first panel ends. Now you need to go to the 3rd bolt, melee here, then go 3 bolts up, melee again, and you can crouch through. And now for single barricades, I'll show you the quickest way you can go through them. So I'll shoot 1 panel here, and so I only need 6 more. So by hitting it here, underneath the metal piece, I destroy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so I have 7, you can vault through. So this is the quickest way to get a vault prompt because you only need 1 melee hit and 2 bullets. I haven't talked about windows yet, but honestly the interactions for doors are pretty much applicable to windows, maybe not crouch holes, but for the rest it's pretty much the same. Last thing I want to mention, from the outside you don't see the bolts, but you can just count the number of panels instead, it's interchangeable. For the second tip, I want to talk about bomb play and bomb dynamics. So rounds are 3 minutes total, and when there's less than 45 seconds on the clock, this is where I consider it to be the bomb planning part of the round. Within this phase, especially if it's a 1v1 or a 1v2 or even a 2v2, you need to know exactly what your optimal play is to improve your chances at winning. But before I explain that, I need to show some metrics first. For attackers, it takes 7.5 seconds to plant the bomb, and for defenders, it also takes 7.5 seconds to disarm the bomb. And if the bomb is planted, then defenders have 45 seconds to disarm the bomb. Attackers can still be planning after the 0-second mark, provided that they initiated the plan before. But defenders, on the other hand, have to fully disarm the bomb before the timer runs out. Unfortunately for defenders, they don't have a timer with the actual time left, but they do have a pie chart. The pie chart is a bit small on the screen, so I made a bigger one here that shows the last possible moment where you have enough time to disarm the bomb as a defender. If you don't want to base yourself on the timer, then you can also refer to the sound cues. When there's a few seconds on the clock, you start hearing large, low-frequency pulses. And the last period where you have enough time to disarm the bomb, it falls around the 11th pulse. In my opinion, the game transitions from a tactical shooter to a poker game. You can have a good or a bad hand, but you need to stay cool, bluff at times, maintain a poker face, and sometimes go all in. So for both sides, I'll explain the optimal play for pre-plant and post-plant situations. And for both situations, I need to further divide it by 2 to account for when there's more than 7.5 seconds and when there's less than 7.5 seconds. So all in all, there's 8 different scenarios to be aware of. So I'll start with defenders. In a pre-plant situation, if the timer is more than 7.5 seconds, then time is your friend. Attackers need to make a play if they want to win. They can bluff the plant to bait you, or they can stick it, since they might not want to plant when the timer hits 0. But most of the time, since there's some time left, it's likely that the attackers will try to bait you out instead of fully committing to a plan. For both cases, you can make a bit of noise, and you should only go for the elimination if you're confident that the attacker is going for the plant. For the poker metaphor, you have good cards, so you can check or even raise a bit, but you shouldn't be overconfident, as your opponent's hand might be good too. If the timer's at 7.5 seconds or less, then you're in a better position than your opponent. Unless they eliminate you before, they either lose the round because they can't plant, or they get forced to plant after the timer hits 0. The optimal play here, although I think it's a bit controversial, is to avoid taking a gunfight and letting the attackers plant. This removes the risk of them eliminating you and forces them into a bad position. But you shouldn't try to run away too far away from the site, because if ever they plant, then you need to get back, so you should always stay nearby. If the timer hits 0 and the round isn't over, then you should full sprint into sight and try to eliminate the attacker. For the poker metaphor, attackers are pot committed into a risky play, either a gunfight or a desperate plant. So as a defender, you should call, not raise. But if the timer hits 0, then you have to go all in. Moving on to the post-plant situation. So if there's more than 7.5 seconds left, then you need to be active and try to bait the attackers out. Try to fake defuse to unsettle the attackers, or go for a full defuse for some reverse psychology. If attackers are playing optimally, then they won't take unnecessary gunfights if there's still some time left. However, if they hear that the bomb almost gets disarmed, then they're forced to go check. For the poker metaphor, you have a bad hand, but you're still able to win by bluffing your opponent out. If the plant timer is around 7.5 seconds, then you're in a dire situation, because you're approaching the point where you'll no longer have time to disarm. As a defender, you have to understand that even if you fake the attacker and get the elimination, you'll still lose the round. It's better to try to disarm the bomb all the way through than getting off the disarm to get the elimination, because in the former, although your chances of winning are very slim, you still have a chance to win. But in the latter scenario, it's impossible to win because you won't have enough time to disarm the bomb completely. For the poker metaphor, you know you have worse cards than your opponent, but you need to go all in to try to destabilize the opponent and get a sneaky win. So this covers the different scenarios for defenders. Let's move on to attackers. In a pre-planned situation, and if the timer is more than 7.5 seconds, then you have 2 options. You either go for the elimination or try to plant the diffuser. You have to assume the active role. If the defender is more aggressive and wants to take a gunfight, then you should take it. Attacker weapons are on average better than defender weapons, and you avoid the whole planting the bomb scenario. However, if the defender tries to avoid the gunfight, then you need to plant the bomb, and either plant in its entirety or bait the defender to come close and then get the elimination. For the poker metaphor, your cards might not be great, but you need to maintain a strong poker face and commit to a play to juke your opponent out. And now if the timer is at 7.5 seconds or less, planting the bomb becomes a bit riskier as the round will continue after hitting 0 seconds. However, once again you still need to assume the active role. If defenders play optimally and avoid the gunfight, then you're forced to plant. However, if they're still aggressive and let you have a gunfight, then you should always take it. And if the timer is at 0 seconds, you need to continue your plan, otherwise you lose the round. You need to go all in. So for the poker reference, you're pot committed to making a risky play, so whatever play you go for, it needs to be decisive. Now, if you're able to get the bomb down as an attacker, and if there's more than 7.5 seconds, then time is your friend. Now defenders need to make a play if they want to win. Therefore, you need to assume the passive role. Don't take unnecessary gunfights and try to waste as much time as possible by making noise or faking rushes. Similarly to the number 1 case, the other side is time pressured, but they still have a bit of time left, so they're more likely to bait you out instead of fully committing to a disarm. For the poker metaphor, you have good cards now, so you can check and bluff, but you shouldn't be overconfident, as your opponent still might have some good cards. If the timer is around 7.5 seconds, and once again you can refer to the visual or audio cues, then you need to go all in and go towards the bomb. Even if the defender eliminates you, they won't have time to disarm the bomb, and you win the round. So for the poker reference, your hand is great. You should either go all in to make your opponent fold, or to ensure the win. So this summarizes the 8 scenarios, and even though I listed what I think are the optimal plays, there are times where you'll have to act differently. And that's why I compare bomb play to a game of poker. There's always going to be a bit of uncertainty, and you can get lucky if the opponent messes up somewhere. For the next section, I want to talk about map dynamics. So every map is different in this game. However, there are some elements which are common to certain maps, and I'll list them here. Spawn peaks, outside walls, and hatch plays. For spawn peaks, although all maps have spawn peaks, some maps have more windows and angles that you need to be careful of. One such map would be Cafe. You have 3 angles here in this side of Main Street, and then you have 2 more in the other side. Then, you have a few angles here that cover the parking spawn, and finally, you have windows that cover the back alley spawn. So this is only for one map, but honestly, I believe that every single map has spawn peaks that cover every attacker spawn. So as an attacker, regardless where you spawn, you need to be aware of the spawn peaks of your spawn. For defenders, one strategy could be to spawn peek in an uncommon place, as attackers will be preoccupied by the default spawn peaks, and you can get a very sneaky elimination that way. Moving on to the next section, we have outside walls. Some maps have them, and they are very often breached. As a defender, using wall denial becomes very important, but it's also a good idea to pressure the attackers from the outside, as you'll know they will likely want to get the wall. And for these maps, instead of banning Ace, you can ban Maverick, as there's no counter to Maverick tricking. For attackers, bringing counters to wall denials becomes important, and be sure to cover runouts by either having someone check them or by placing claymores. And if defenders ban Ace or Dokkaebi or any other op, you should consider playing Maverick, as map tricking walls outside is a very viable strategy. For the final part of this section, I want to talk about hatches. People think that hatches are mainly used to play vertically from above, and while that is true, there are other creative plays you can make with them. Consider Echo. Since his drone jumps very high, you can use his drone to scout the outside area of certain maps. You can do so in Clubhouse and in Nighthaven Labs. Otherwise, some sites have flooring that is indestructible, but there is a hatch in the middle of the room. In Fortress, for instance, the default plant in bathroom would be in the corner here, but if you want to stop the plant, you can go below the hatch and throw your C4 just like this. There, the C4 lands close enough to the plant spot and eliminates everyone nearby. Same principle in Emerald Plains. Sometimes, attackers will want to plant on the indestructible part of ceramic behind these walls. However, with the hatch in the middle, you can throw your C4 either to the left or the right hand side, and it will land on the other side of the wall and will eliminate the planting attacker. For the next tip, I want to talk about how sound works. So sound is very important in Rainbow Six Siege, as it gives you direct information on where the opponent is. Sound in this game goes through the nearest path available. So if there are drone holes or bullet holes and the enemy is on the other side, you'll hear them as if they were very close. Otherwise, almost every action makes sound in this game. In the basics tutorial, you have access to a sound meter that tells you exactly how much sound an action makes. So we can go there together and I'll show the sound produced for every default action. Unfortunately, the tutorial doesn't show the sound produced by other actions like pulling out your C4 or pulling out a drone, but generally speaking, just know that if it makes sound on your side, then it probably makes sound on your enemy's side. For the final tip, I want to show you how to be more sneaky while spawn peeking. So there are many different ways to spawn peek. However, I want to show ways that make it harder for the attackers to see you. Generally speaking, if you want to limit your exposure, you shouldn't melee the barricade for 2 reasons. First, if the barricade has a glass panel, then attackers seeing the glass panel destroyed alerts them to be more careful and watch for a spawn peek. Also, meleeing a barricade destroys more panels than you actually need. All you really need for spawn peeks is to destroy 1 panel only. Depending on which window you spawn peek from, you can destroy different panels. If the window is on the first floor and the area you're peeking is relatively flat, then you can crouch, align yourself with the 4th bolt, and peek from there. That way, it makes it hard for attackers to see you. For 2nd floor windows, you can destroy 1 panel aligned with the 7th bolt and look down from there. However, keep in mind that some maps have different architectures, where the windows are not at the same level compared to other maps, so you might need to align with a different bolt or stand up instead of crouching, but otherwise the same rules apply. So that covers 5 tips that I've gathered while playing Rainbow Six Siege. Thank you very much for making it through the end of the video. I hope that you learned something new today, and if you did, please let me know in the comments below. And also, if you have other tips that you want to share, feel free to do so. And if you think that I missed something in one section, please let me know too. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.